This is our, okay, this is our annual meeting. Okay, do we need to, well, we had a meeting last night, the board did, and we had 3 people that approved the meeting minutes. The meeting minutes went out late last night, and what do we want to do? We want to just send them to everybody, Ken?
Well, first we need approval from the board, formal approval.
Okay,
In terms of a recorded vote, currently we have approval from Bill, we have approval from Michael Campo, and we have my approval. So, Mary, how do you vote for the minutes?
I would approve the minutes.
Okay, and Adam?
Adam,
Yeah, I looked at them. They look good.
Okay,
okay,
so then they're approved 5-0. So what I'll do is tomorrow I'll post them and I'll send them to everybody.
okay.
Okay, President's report.
We want to thank Laser, and Holly is here from Laser for all the good work that they've done for us so far. And thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so on July 4, July 3, we had a storm roll through and we lost power from about 3:30 in the afternoon until 11 o'clock at night. And Ken went around knocking on everybody's door, telling them, don't flush the toilets because the lift station was out. So things that we talked about at last night's board meeting was whether or not to talk about a generator so that we could get the lift station running if needed because of an outage. And it was brought to our attention that very seldom do we have a period of time where the electricity is out. So it may not be worthwhile to do anything about it, but we did talk about it. And what we're going to do is leave that for the next board to decide. Okay. We've had at least 4 unit members talk to us, the board, about the number of people that have been trespassing on our property. And so we end up with 2 issues here. One is the trespassers, and the other one is the lights from the township park changes. And so Ken and I talked with Laser a couple days ago about an estimated cost to put in a gate so that we could secure the properties. And estimated cost of putting in a gate is somewhere in the neighborhood of 40,000. I'm not saying that that's it, but that was kind of a swag, scientific wild guess. And then on top of that, it was brought to the attention of the board. One of the board members said, even putting up a gate doesn't necessarily mean that people won't walk around the gate, or people won't climb over fences, or people won't go through our neighbor's property or walk across Dominion's property to get to our property. So the board did consider this and spent a fair amount of time on this last night. And we're going to leave this for the next board, but it was pretty much the opinion of this board that the cost to put in a gate to secure the property would be very expensive. We talked about the improvements, shall we call them improvements, from the township and the Glenlord Park. And the township came in and took down some 20-odd trees in Glenlord Park. And after that happened, the headlights from the cars that come into the park are now going through our bedroom windows. And so we've talked with the township about shielding the lights so that the light that they do emit is more on their parking lot than is coming into our bedroom lights. Our bedrooms, excuse me. And we also went over and took a look, and there's a sign over at the park that said the park closes at 11 o'clock. So one of the comments that was made by board members was that maybe if we're having people in the park after 11 o'clock and their lights are disturbing us, to call the township police, because it is posted to be closed at 11 o'clock. Another thought is that at one time, and I remember this, and this was long before I bought in here, that there were gates on that park. And there are no gates at this point. And so we're thinking maybe we could talk with the township and maybe they might be willing to put the gates back up. But that's just a thought. We were told by the township that they're going to be planting arborvitaes this fall on their south property line. And they're supposed to be putting in 2 rows of arborvitaes, and they're going to be staggering them so that they become a light shield to our property. But the arborvitaes going in are only going to be 3 to 4 feet tall, and it's going to take a couple of years for them to grow up further. So the board talked about possibly putting in some, and Mary, you had the name of the type of poplar, was it? Did she get commuted?
I'm looking, hang on. Oh, there's Mary.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
Yes, Mary, you talked about some type of poplar tree that grows
Oh, yeah.
fast.
Well, if you want a nice tall tree to really shield our property, those Lombardy poplars, you see them all over, like in farms and farmers, they use them, to shield a couple sides of their property or to delineate their field from somebody else's. And they're a narrow tree and they grow fast. So
Okay.
that's a possibility. Also, we were talking about, and it wouldn't shield our property, but it might make somebody think twice about hopping the fence, is some kind of little bush along the fence that, might be attractive, but also has some thorns on it that you don't want to hurt anybody, but it might be a deterrent for people hopping over the fence.
Right. And Ken talked about a bayberry as the bush to keep people from hopping the fence. And Ken and I were talking about the poplars along the fence on our side of the property. And we have approximately 150 feet of frontage there where the lights would shine into our units. And so we talked about it, and again, we're going to leave this up to the next board to discuss. But we are going to be in contact with the township. The township is doing some work on the light fixtures. In fact, there are 3 light fixtures there, and they've turned off 2 of them. So they're going to have to turn one of them back on. But it's possible that they could do some shielding on the light fixtures to keep the lights off on our property. And we talked about, and a while back, there was a carload of people that came into the township park, and they started to have a party and cranked up the music and made a nuisance of themselves. And so the police were called because of the nuisance, and the matter was taken care of. But we just want to make sure that we can call the police if there's something going on in the park that is disturbing to the neighborhood and is in violation of the #1 law in the state of Michigan, which is thou shalt keep the peace. Okay. And I'm about done. Do we want to go on to the next?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr.
Secretary
President.
report.
Okay, thank you very much. With my slide here, you've all received this, so in looking over it, there's a number of things that I've been doing throughout the year. The two primary things I'd like to address are surveys and communication. The board conducted the landscape survey to help future boards make decisions as they deal with the many small maintenance items that arise each year. The hope was that the board would get a sense of community preferences so that these small decisions could be made in a comprehensive manner that would tie together and not look piecemeal. The survey provided many interesting insights that should be helpful to future boards. The board used Election Buddy platform to perform the survey because it would not incur any extra expense for the association. We found that the platform had certain survey design restrictions that some owners found objectionable. The survey portion of that platform is different than the election portion of it. The election portion works perfectly. So as secretary, I would recommend using a different survey platform in the future. As to communications, I'd like to thank the owners because the board's Gmail account is getting much more appropriate emails. The board's Gmail account is now receiving mostly administrative and policy questions, and this helps the board to operate more efficiently. I'm also happy to report that the maintenance requests are mostly going to Laser and the AppFolio platform. If you have not downloaded that app, please do so. It's very easy to use and lets you track your maintenance requests. Holly, do you have any comments that you would like to make in reference to the maintenance requests coming into Laser?
Granted, I've been getting a lot of them from Michael just because he is the VP in grounds. I have been slowly getting more and more maintenance requests from homeowners. When you put in a maintenance request, if you have multiple things going on, please put in a separate request for each item because it may be taken care of from different vendors. Otherwise, I have to deconstruct everything and put in multiple requests. So that would just help save time for me. Because I get quite a few maintenance requests from all of my associations, so it just takes time. If you have questions on how to use AppFolio, please reach out. I can help you walk through that. If you haven't downloaded the app, let me know. It's called AppFolio Portal. I know Ken did a step-by-step instructions through one of the newsletters recently on how to use AppFolio or how to put in a maintenance request, how to find AppFolio on your app store. So if you're still having questions, just reach out. And if I'm not available, someone in our office can help answer those questions as well.
Anything else at this time, Holly?
No,
Okay.
not at this time.
Thank you very much. That concludes my portion of the report. Mr. President?
Oh, well, now we're the director at large, and that's Mary.
Okay. When I was thinking about what to say for reminders, an old song that some of you may be familiar with came to mind, and that is Rules. Huh. What are they good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. But just kidding. The first release of our master deed and bylaws came with a set of both condo rules and pool rules. Our founding fathers, the developer and the first owners, realized that a set of rules would help all owners live together in peace and harmony, or at least provide a guide to hopefully achieve that. When my family first started visiting Surfside, we stayed in our next door neighbor's condo, and one of the very first things they drilled into us was the importance of following the rules. We knew where to find the rules in their unit, and we knew where to find them, and we'd reread them and refresh our memories each time we visited. And so you guys should all have a set of the condo rules and pool rules, and you recently received an updated set of pool rules. So just to please read those and provide them to your guests if you have guests over to use the pool. And really one of the main ideas behind Surfside rules is really the safety and health, both physical and mental, of all of our owners and guests. We all want to enjoy the beauty and serenity, but also be respectful of our neighbors and our shared spaces. For balcony and patio appearances, the condo rules, okay, also go into detail and state that clothing, laundry towels should not be hung over your balcony railings or patio railings. Now, we realize it's summer and you're going to have wet towels after visiting the pool, but please try not to hang them over the railings and to put them away after a reasonable amount of time. The same should apply to your pool toys, children's toys, and adult toys. So just to kind of put things away, tidy up after a reasonable amount of time, but enjoy the summer. And then cars. I have noticed an increase of cars parking in center court for an extended period of time. So for everyone, just to please remember that it's really meant for loading, unloading, kind of short-term parking, and that we have our carports in both the north and south lots. And I know for one, I'd rather look at the flowers, plants, or the sunset rather than people's cars. And then also wanted to just bring up a little bit about the laundry room doors. And I don't know how everybody else finds their laundry rooms, but by us, we go through there a lot of times and the door is wide open. So we just request to, if you're just passing through, just to remember to close the doors tightly when you go through, because I don't think anyone, myself included, would want to be in there with a bee, a moth, a bird, or a mouse because someone can't close the door. But our resident ferret, I don't know if you've met him yet, he's been really taking care of the mice. I saw him run down center court with a mouse one day, so, but still you never know. Can he catch them all? I don't know. And then again, the power outage, as Bill said, we had a big rain and windstorm on July 3rd. And that wind was so strong that our community grill was on the move. And it took a stroll all the way down center court to see what everyone was up to. But that was fun. One unfortunate effect of the outage was that we are an all electric property and we're positioned at the bottom of a big hill. So our lift station powers the waste removal, and when the power is out, it is out. So, and then waste cannot travel back up the hill until power is restored. And while there are companies that can come out if necessary to bail us out, they may not be available on short notice or when thousands of homes are also without power. So just remember, or try your best. If the power is out, do not flush. So on that pleasant note, I will pass the presentation on to the grounds report. Thank you very much.
Okay, Michael, you're up.
Okay, everything that's up there, you guys can pretty much you can read it for yourself. But what we're gonna take care of is RAM, and the phase 1 has been completed. We've done they've done an outstanding job, and we have been totally secured with what they've been able to fix for us. But one of the things that caught my eye was looking over the contract was that they were going to it was going to include this year into the next 5 years as part of the contract. So when I had the opportunity to talk to Joe Stocky, who is the leader of the RAM company that's been helping us, and I discussed it with them. And so basically we can kick it up a year. So it's going to go 2027 to 2032. And that's going to be part of our warranty and our contract with them. That contract, being said, is saying that their top end of any repairs that they're doing is going to be $12,000 maximum. But at the same time, it says that, it's like if you think about what they did this year, with the amount of a little bit of rust that we had here or there showing up, that's going to continue. It's going to continue for a couple of years until we seal that, and that's expected, and that's going to be done. But it's nowhere gonna be $12,000 to do those kind of jobs because it's not gonna take that long. It's not gonna take that type of much material or manpower. So I don't know those kind of numbers yet, but it's not going to be there near that max. But I thought that was interesting to just make sure that people understood that we're way on top of this with Ram. Ram has done just again an outstanding job, and can't be more than thankful for what they did to help us at Surfside because it got bad. So we're going to be good to go for at least the next 5 years, and hopefully get this stuff cleared up. Secondly, we got coming up on the 21st, Arndt is coming in, and they're going to finish up. They're going to do our very first seal all the cracks, and then all the major cracks. They're going to fix all the cracks, and then they're going to seal up the whole place. And that's I know that maybe possibly Holly will have something to say if I miss it, but it's going a lot better than I expected. It was going to be 2 days, but because of the weather that we've had, it might be able to be contained all within that 1 day. So that means they will be able to seal the cracks, do the sealing itself, and then actually put on the paint markings and things like that. So we're all good to go. That could be done in a day. What has been explained to me is that the seal coat itself is not to be used or walked upon until it's when it goes down, it's going to be wet, and then when it gets to be a dull type of look, that's when it's good to go. So if it goes perfectly, we might have the work done, when they start tearing it down in the morning, and we can maybe be parking our cars down there at night. 100% on that, I can't say, and looking at the weather, there's as of right now, a 60% chance of rain, but they know what they're doing, and we'll see how it plays out. But we're hoping that it'll get done right away, and that's that.
Can I add to that, Michael?
Yes, please.
I was just gonna say, if there is weather, they will let me know in that morning if they need to delay because of rain. So I will let everyone know as soon as possible, as soon as I hear. When I talked to Mike with Arndt the other day, and just pretty much what Michael said, like if it's warm enough that the seal coating will dry quickly, it will go from like a wet looking finish to a dull finish, and Michael will be on site so he can let me know when it's okay for everyone to be able to move their vehicles back onto the new painted surface. Another thing that some people may be concerned about is the seal coating and how it's applied, and if you're parking into the carports. They told me that when they're near cars, they have a different technique. I don't know if they're actually brushing it on or if they're just spraying a little closer. So they're trying to prevent any of the seal coating from getting on cars. But if it's windy that day and they're spraying, the center court and getting closer to the carports, it could blow into the cars that are in the carports. So you just have to be careful. I don't think they're ever like trying to get anyone's car covered in seal coating. So I don't know if it'll even matter. It just depends on the weather and how the seal coating is applied. So hopefully everything will go good. If it's not too windy, everything will be fine. If it's warm out, it'll be even better for everyone because it'll dry faster. So we'll just keep everyone posted as the day comes up.
Michael, you want to touch
along
upon
with what has been said by Holly is we have the permission from our neighbors to park our cars up in the parking lot there for the day. So and overnight. So if that's what you choose, I would suggest that. To be honest, I would suggest doing that. I'm not sure how many, because this has been in the works for a long time. So I hope that there's not going to be a lot of cars around. But say we've got a couple of cars around, if you just want to make sure that because we have permanent residents and stuff, get your cars put up on the top of that parking lot for at least the day, and then we'll see. And then I'll let everybody know, or Holly will let everybody know, as she mentioned, as soon as it's good to come back down. And that I think that's a really good plan, the way to work it. I don't know, Holly, that about it?
I think so. What was Adam going to say?
I was actually going to touch upon what Michael was talking about. I just wanted to make sure we let everyone know that I believe Ken, based on what you said, permission, was it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, possibly all 3 days to have cars up there, just in case?
Yes, we can actually put the cars up there on the 20th. And so, that way, whenever time they start working, if you have a concern and want your car out of the carport, we can put it up there. And when Michael and I spoke, he said he's going to be here, so his Eagle Eye will be on the cars. But also the township did acknowledge that they would have extra police patrols coming into the park, so our cars would be safe.
And one more thing I'd like to add to that too, because I'm going to be there. So what we can do is, if we have anybody that has any impairments or things like this, and they want to get their cars up there, just let me know. I'll follow you up there, and I'll bring you back down. And there'll only be a $5 charge for that per session. And we'll be good to go.
Is that $5 per foot?
Well, no. Well, it's back and forth. Well, never mind. I'm not going. Okay, so one other thing that came up just now, came up about the park and that fence. It was a question that came up recently, and could we get a different kind of fence in there? I'm bringing this up because this was really important, I think, too, is because we were all thinking, well, can we get like a 5-foot plastic fence and make it live really nice? People can't even see through it. Fact is, they need to put a cyclone fence there. If not, it's going to get blown to bits. Our winds are just too much, so on any possible day. So that's why that decision was made, if that needs clarity for anyone. I'd like to now go really quick into the pool. A couple things that have come up in Pristine Pool at the start of the season, installed new pool valves, and they were replaced. That was just under $3,200. Then suddenly we had an unexpected surprise with the heater internally breaking down. And that was about another $5,000 that had to go into that emergency. And luckily, Ken and Jay and I were there, and we took care of all that fun. And then it's already where the little bit of damage that was done, not damage, but the smoke and stuff, that's been already painted off the building, so you can't even tell that's been going on. So things that went pretty good with that. We have a new pool cover because the one that was on there really was not in good shape and it fell apart. So that's already on order, and it's being taken care of. But before I say that, I also like to let you know that we have Horsepower Pools now is going to be our only company that deals with the pool, with the exception of our everyday maintenance man. Because over this last year, I have had Pristine they know my voice when I call, and they're incredibly nice, but I can't get them to give me a figure or a quote on anything. So Horsepower Pools came out, looked at the pool, knew exactly what we had and what we were dealing with and what the contentions were and things like this. It was fabulous. And so it was decided, and Ken was there at the time, as well as Holly, that it was probably be the best thing to do it. Also, before I continue with that, on 6/13, the pool passed inspection, which might surprise some people, but it did. And it's because of our good maintenance, and as far as having the right equipment down there and how we have it, installed, everything like that, all that paint problem, that's going to be fixed. And how that's going to be fixed is not like, I want to say phase, but stages. So stage 1 will take place in September. Originally, it was put out to everybody. We're going to shut it down on Labor Day, come heck or high water, but that's not no pun. But that's going to be changed because, they have all kinds of pools to shut down too. So we might go a week or two extended beyond that, but they're going to shut it down, and then he will start the first stage of repair right then. Then that will take care of the fall part. The cover will be applied, and we will be safe through the winter. He will uncover that in early spring, and finish the rest of it, including the painting and everything else like this. So we should be good to go, by next year, and we should be good for quite a while after that. That's an exciting thing, but it's going to also be, a costly adventure. So let's see, that's what I got for that. And also was added the fact that he mentioned that the retention wall that we have there, that we've been watching it lean for decades. He was saying that yes, there will be a time that we're going to eventually have a time that we can have the right time to replace that. He kind of advised both, again, all of us, that it would be a recessed wall. He kind of suggested would be a thing, but he also suggested the fact that what's up there as far as foliage and things like this needs to be there. Otherwise, our pool will end up in the lake. So that's something else to keep in your mind. And I think that's pretty much it for right now.
Thank you, Michael. And next is the treasurer report. Adam?
Yep, let's get to the fun stuff. All right, Ken, I'm gonna share so I can at least maybe bounce back and forth a little bit.
Okay, I'm allowing you to share.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
I want this screen. All right. Everyone see the financials through June 30th?
Mhm.
Okay. So this was fiscal year ending June 30th. Not too much to point out. If anyone has any specific questions, obviously shoot us an email. The couple things I want to show, obviously, our steps down to the landing was a reserve item back in August to be done. So that's a one-time expense of this 17,000. We still have some of the expenses from RAM that were coming through of about 20,000. The remaining balance is set to come out of the reserve when they send us a final bill. Everything else seemed to fall in line for the most part with what we were expecting. Obviously, insurance being the biggest piece, as well as grounds expenses. So like I said, if you guys got any questions on anything specific, I'd be more than happy to answer or tackle. Operating budget for 26-27. This is what we drafted and approved recently. Once again, main thing being insurance. We all know that is kind of our largest expense, grounds expenses as well. Pool maintenance, probably a slight increase in that. Our utilities generally run roughly the same. And then two line items, one for potential legal fees and one for a potential reserve study. So this lays out our expected income for the year. Our expected expenses leaves us 20,000 and change to put towards the reserve. Our reserve account for 2026-27 going forward, we have 94,000 and change in there now. We expect this 20,000 from the operating here to come into the reserve throughout the year. We know we have a bill for RAM phase 1 hanging out there that we have to pay. Phase 2 we have talked about, and I'm not sure if there's something on the calendar yet, but it's definitely the item that needs to be tackled with the wood balconies, repair, fix, coating. The pool, this gets into what Michael was talking about. Cover we already ordered. Heater has already been installed. We need to pay that bill whenever it shows up. And then the larger expense of the pool being kind of the serious repair, patch, paint later in the fall. So mainly these 5 items are the main items that are set to come out of the reserve account next year, with all of them basically being in place or going to be in place, which leaves us an ending account balance of almost 34,000 at the end of next year. Obviously, this is the budget and projected and things like that, but at least it shows kind of what we're looking at from start to potential finish 12 months from now. I think, like I said, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask, and I can tackle them now or get back to you. So that was the main things that we have done, or at least went through over the last probably month or so in finalizing budgets and financials.
Okay. Any other questions or comments that anybody on the board wants to make?
We can actually adjourn, Mr. President, and then I'll take the screen down and we can, if you want to go
Go
over
to
questions and answers.
Yep. A motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second,
I second.
all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, 5-0. Okay, the meeting's adjourned. Okay. Go ahead and go through your questions and comments again.
Okay, as we begin the question and comment area, all comments and questions will be recorded. Some answers will be provided verbally during the meeting, while others may require a written response that will be emailed to the owners. The president, please direct your questions to the president. And if the president chooses to expand on it or have one of the board members speak to that, he'll direct that to us. The president will call each unit owner in turn. You have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. I'll put the timer up on my screen. Once all owners have had a turn, the president will begin a second round for the owners. Okay, let's see if I get the timer up here for me. Okay, I'm set on my side, Mr. President.
Okay, the first one up, the seconder's not here. So the first one up is Enid. You have any questions or comments, Enid?
Unmute.
Unmute. Still muted?
There we go. Okay,
There you go.
it's muted now.
You're fine. We can hear you.
Okay. A couple of things. I swim every day at Andrews. They have a wonderful saltwater pool, and they're very adamant. They're meticulous in keeping it clean. And one of the things they're very adamant about is showering before you use the pool. And I don't think we've really made enough of a case for that. I saw that there was some mention in some of the pool rules that chlorine doesn't, or whatever we're using, doesn't kill all germs and all cooties. So it'd be good to remind people that showering before you use the pool, especially for kids, is something that we ought to require. I know it's in the rules, but we never talk about it. The other thing I'd like to talk about are the lights. As long as we're in the season and everybody's around and it's summer, the reduction in wattage is fine. But in the winter, there are only a handful of us here. And to have such a low wattage should be a safety issue. We've had a lot of falls over the last winter, and I think we need to have the light restored for winter. Might want to mute it in summer, but restore it in the winter. And finally, I'd like to request that in our biggest classes, as many of you know, I have been interested in. Our two largest costs are insurance and toxicity. I would like to see us trim our spending until we can get our insurance down and make reduction of insurance a focal point for the coming board. I have heard all kinds of information from various insurance providers of how we might get out of the high risk pool and what some of the strictures are. I'd like to see us focus on that. And finally, I'd like to see us reduce toxicity. And one way we can do that is I'd like to see getting rid of these titles at meetings, these, which I regard as both pompous and pretentious, president this, director that, vice president. We have 32 units. We all know each other. Sometimes we know each other a little too well. We can't guarantee that we're going to like each other, but I hope we can guarantee civility toward each other. I would like to see more of that here at Surfside. Thank you.
Okay. Michael or Julie?
No, I'm good.
You're good?
Nothing at this time. Yes,
Okay,
at this time I'm
Lorraine?
good.
Okay, thank you. Lorraine, any questions or comments?
Yes, I'd just like to thank the board for their volunteerism this year, and good luck to the next candidates. And that's about it. Happy summer.
Thank you, Lorraine. Ron Kruger?
Thank you. Yes. I want to thank Holly and the board for responding so quickly to my recent ceiling leak. However, I received an email this morning that the issue has been resolved. However, the painting related to that remains pending. I just want to make sure that that's not overlooked.
Anything
Sorry.
else?
It won't be.
Sorry, I thought that was taken care of, Ron.
No, not yet.
I thought Turley was there, so I will double check with him. I was going through work orders this morning and I may have closed it accidentally, so I will double check with him.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dave and Sheila? Are you good?
We're good. Yeah, we're good. And thanks, board.
Mike and Pam?
We're good right now. Thank you to the board for continuing to work hard for Surfside. We appreciate it.
Mike and Karen?
Yeah, just also a thank you to the board for this year. It's been a good year, I think, from my perspective, our perspective. Clarification on the parking during the seal coating. It seemed like we were talking about both the condos up above and the park. Is that the case, or which lot are we talking about?
I think we're talking about the township park.
Ah, okay. When somebody said neighbors above, I didn't count the township. Okay. Other thing being, to echo Enid's concern about the insurance, I would like to see a committee formed from among the owners to work on sourcing appropriate other coverage quotes to see if we can do something on that. That's all we have. Thank you.
Okay. Dan and Chris Mulher?
Yeah, thanks to the board. Did a great job. Thanks for fixing the rust, the dripping rust. I don't have to worry about the dripping rust, and the parking lot looks great too. Thanks. Very good job.
Thank you. You're welcome. Julie Hammond?
Yeah, I would just like to add to what the Hansons mentioned about our insurance, and I think that should be a focus, but I would recommend, instead of soliciting expertise from owners and residents, I mean, there's been a lot of information flying around about how we should approach going forward with our insurance information and getting out of subprime jail, so to speak. And there's a lot of misinformation going around about what needs to happen. And I think we should use our amazing property management company, Laser, and employ the expertise of industry professionals instead of relying on us as owners that are not experts in this field.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else, Julie?
That's it.
Thank you. Carol, do you want to say anything? Carol Farragon, did you go away?
Yep. I'm just going to say thank you. I think our grounds and everything looks so nice, and I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of hard work, And I know it took a lot of coordination from everyone. I'd like that. I really would appreciate it. And I really want to say thank you to Laser. Having you come on board with us has made such a huge difference, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Holly, and everyone there that has helped, make things go so much easier. I appreciate you being here. It's like having somebody in my pocket. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Adam and Donna?
I have nothing.
Adam, do you have anything?
I do not.
Okay. Okay, we're up to Jay.
And of course, I got stuff to say. Okay, first of all, thank you, board. I know how hard each of you has worked, and you worked together this year really well, and you got a lot done. And you can really tell when you look at Surfside, it's such a big improvement from where it used to be. So thank you for all that hard work. Thank you, Laser, for having your AppFolio. You're probably going to block me from now on because I use it a lot, but it sure makes it easier to pinpoint things that need to be done. You guys are right on it with a response right away. So thank you for that. A special shout out. Thank you for putting those sprinklers in the flower boxes. It's amazing when the thing shoots up, it looks like a little fountain, but I don't have to get out there in 90-degree weather with a hose to water those flowers anymore. And Mary won't have to do it it just makes it easier in the heat, and it also just looks really cute. So thanks for doing that. I do have a serious concern though. Since Memorial Day, we have had so many people here that don't belong. And we recognize some of them because some people come every year and they're guests of people. And I know we suggested this before and it got kind of knocked down. But I think if an owner's not going to be here when the guests are here, it's not that hard to have them let the board know who's coming down. Because we're shagging people out who don't belong here. I mean, that group of little girls the other day, oh, we're staying, we know Jim, we're staying in Unit 1. And then they go to their car because they're not staying in Unit 1. I'm sure that he even called Jim and Jim knew nothing about it. So we have too many strange people coming through our property. It's a beautiful property. We like what it looks like. We like the way it's maintained. Seems that too many other people are starting to like it too. So just a suggestion for the next board, if you could think about having, when an owner's not on property, if they can just send you like the name of who's going to be here, so you know to expect that 10 people are going to be here, in 3 units, or 2 people are going to be in a certain unit. I think it would make it easier. Thank you again for everything that you've done this year.
Thank you. Ken, do you have anything?
Oh, yes, I do. Thank you. I saw Daniel's hand go up. He's the other one who was doing all the watering. Yeah. So thank you, Daniel. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes and talk about insurance. And in terms of the insurance, Michael worked very, 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 very hard to connect us with Schneider. We were in dire straits when he did that. He got us an enormous reduction, and the board, even though we haven't talked about it, has been very proactive in what we've been doing with insurance. Schneider shops it every year so that we try to get a better situation. They had recommended to us to increase the deductible. Our deductible has gone up to $10,000 a year. The board, especially this year, has been very proactive and did not make any claims, even though we could have had a couple of instances where we could have made claims. But to get us out of insurance purgatory, we were very proactive in terms of making those things happen from the operating budget. So this board has been working very hard in terms of trying to control those costs. In terms of doing research on insurance, the general consensus out there seems to be around 3 to 5 years to get out of insurance purgatory. That's generally a rough thing. We're getting close to that. the insurance policy comes up for renewal in September. So we can look at it in different ways. The new board will have to make that particular decision, but the board has not been standing still on this issue. We've been working and doing everything we can do within the confines of the time restraint being put on us by the insurance company. So we're very aware of it. And I'm sure that the next board will be proactive in terms of dealing with insurance and trying to reduce that cost. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel and Mary?
Mary, you can go first.
Mary, you want to go first?
Unmute.
Unmute. There we go.
Something else popped up and I couldn't unmute, but I don't have anything in particular. I vented during my little section, so I'm fine. So, but I thank the board too for this year. So I will let my husband have his questions.
Daniel?
Well, a lot of them have been addressed already, and I appreciate people bringing those concerns to the board as opposed to one or two. I do have a couple questions with respects to the park. Why don't they put the poplar trees up instead of us?
Do that again? I'm
Why
sorry, I
don't
didn't
they
hear you.
put the poplar trees that
Well, they're going to put the arborvitaes up.
I'm sorry?
They're going to put arborvitaes up. They're going to put up 3 to 4 foot trees on their side of the fence that will grow taller.
But we're thinking about put poplar trees on our side of the fence?
It was an idea that Ken and I were bantering about, and we're going to throw it to the next board.
I know, but why doesn't the park put them up on their side of the fence so that we don't have to incur that cost?
Well,
if they're putting up trees that are really cosmetic in nature and not going to help us with anything, why are we?
Mr. President, if I could answer
Go
that.
ahead, answer that, Ken.
I've been working with the township on it, Daniel, and the reason they're putting up the arborvitae is because they're a thicker type of plant, and it will deter the lighting of the cars much better than a poplar tree, because the design of the poplar tree has more trunk on it. So that's why they're choosing it. Also, when they put in the arborvitae, it's not going to be one straight line. They're going to stagger it so that that will also help to diffuse the noise and diffuse the lighting. Does that help in terms of the answer?
Absolutely, and I think if I don't know how much the cost of the poplar trees, but that I would like the board to consider that, because that would just be another barrier, especially higher up for the people on that side in the lighting. It doesn't affect me, but it's disturbing when I go over there and see how they've changed that park and how it is impacting the quality of, I don't want to exaggerate, but the quality of life of Surfside. And on the July 4th, I don't know who was over there, but man, they were booming fireworks. So, and one last thing, when we came up here with, and I might be running late, but I'm going to take some of Mary's time. When we came up here, we had 3 kids, an airport bus, and everybody goes, "Oh my God, who are these people?" And my kids were running all over the place, and they loved the old pool and et cetera, and they had a really good time. And I like kids at the lake. That's what it's for. But recently, there has been sort of a competition here with 4-wheel electric cars or something in the center court. And I say during a reasonable amount of time, go at it.
you know, but parking them on the patios and stuff, really that should be removed to the back, I think, personally. You know, that's like me hanging all my laundry out on the patio. I mean, but that's just a personal thing that I have with that. And then one last thing, the planter box, thank you, Michael, or whoever painted the new bench that they put in. But I would suggest that they repaint the entire planter box because it looks a little worn and tattered, the stain and stuff. So I would appreciate that the Lars would consider, and I'll put a request in, consider painting the entire box so it looks a lot better than it is. And with that,
Okay. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Deanna?
Gotta unmute.
You're muted. You're muted.
Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. I also would like to thank the board. I know how hard they work to get things done, and being a full-time resident, I do appreciate that, and also appreciate Laser for their taking timely care of things. But also being a full-time resident, I'm a little concerned about all the different people that are here and we don't know who they are or whether they belong here. And that's when our laundry room doors are left open. I think that the people that own those units have got to have a little more, have more rules and regulations about things. Last weekend, one of the units on the ground floor had the storm door wide open. I thought they were moving things out. An hour later, it's still wide open. So I went down and said, you know, we've got a lot of wildlife and you're going to have animals in your unit. And they did shut the door. But it's just things like that, that when we get so many different people floating around here that don't seem to follow the rules, that I don't appreciate. But so I think something needs to be done about that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Deanna. And John?
Yes, Jane and I would like to say thank you to the board for all of the efforts and actions this past year, which include preventative maintenance. That's been a priority, such as sealing the asphalt, and from a financial perspective, long term, that will be very, very beneficial to us. The preventative maintenance overall keeps our units looking well and enhances our property values. We would also like to say thank you for the long-term maintenance needs, which have been a focus of this board, such as the RAM project, seeking to resolve problems with our steps that have been there for years and years. Certainly from a safety perspective, things have been enhanced, and also from a visual perspective, it's much more attractive. This board has shown foresight for the future of Surfside with regard to long-term projects, and Jane and I compliment the board for that. We'd also like to say thank you to Laser for your efforts, Holly, and others in assisting the owners as well as the board. And we'd like to commend the board for its transparency of both income and expenditures. Understanding Surfside's financial situation, just like understanding our own personal budget, is very, very helpful. And a lot of time has been spent by this board, certainly Adam, as well as others on the board, to provide transparency of all of our financial aspects, and we're grateful for that. So Jane and I say thank you to the board for all of the steps that you have taken and for all of the hours, many, many hours that each of our board members has put in. We're grateful to you. So thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Okay, so we've gone through everybody once. Dana, you're up again for the second time.
I think I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything they want to say? I don't know, necessarily want to do a roll call.
I'd like to say something.
Okay, Christine.
Hi, since the topic of insurance was brought up, I just want to ask the board, and I think Adam has mentioned it, that one of the things that might help us lower the cost of our insurance is things that insurances look for from our HOA. And it was my understanding that one of the things they look for is, do we have a reserve study? And how sound our reserves are. Are those considerations that an insurance company look at when they're thinking of giving us a quote?
Holly, you want to comment?
I believe that Brad has said yes, that is something that insurance companies do look at. They also look at, when was the last time you had your roof redone, or just the maintenance that you have done on your facilities. So I think that all depends on, that will all contribute to insurance.
Sorry, Holly.
I was just gonna say, at another one of my meetings this week, I found out that one of my other owners at a different association, she works in insurance. So she's going to look for insurance for that association. So I'm going to see if she can help us with Surfside as well.
Okay, thank you.
Can I add to that as well?
Yes.
So in my primary residence, we were in the exact same situation. And our insurance went from I think around 60,000 to 180,000 a year. So we've been in the process, and we've been working with an actual insurance consultant. And it's not just about not filing claims. That's a big part of it, but that's not what it's all about. There's a big picture to this. And as Chris mentioned, reserve study, the reserves, capital, what is your project for maintenance? They want to see that you're maintaining the property, safety, risk, all of those things factor into this. So like I said, there's a lot of misinformation that's been going around about our reserve study, and I would implore you all to do your own research or reach out to somebody with industry expertise, because we're looking at a very expensive road ahead if we don't look at the big picture when it comes to getting out of the subprime market. And we as a board would have not been able to navigate this on our own. I'm not saying that, and not implying that you haven't been working hard on this, but this is something that you really need to consult with an industry expert.
Yeah, the only thing I'd add in regards, and I agree with everything that Holly, Christine, and Julie have brought up, and a lot of stuff that we've come across over the last 12 months, on top of obviously the claim side of things and just the cost of insurance as a whole. Reserve study does come into play in that. Property, we live on a lake that can do some damage. So that all comes into play, as opposed to an inland HOA that doesn't have this. So there is that insurance aspect to it. We've also had things come up from a mortgage, a lender standpoint on the liability or what they're looking at, and if they have kind of tightened the purse strings for people to get mortgages and even borrow money they're going a step further and digging into what our complex and what our HOA kind of looks like financially. So these are all things that come into play across the board. It's not just, hey, here's this one avenue. It is 12 things that are factoring into 12 different areas. So it's going to be an ongoing thing. But yes, it's our insurance coming up. Was this July, August, September, is when we've gotten notification from Schneider Insurance. So we're going to, next board, we'll see what that looks like and hopefully tackle it from there. And if it is, go out and get other quotes, or if it is like, hey, Schneider Insurance, we need the best you can get us here. And if there's ways we can cut corners, what does that look like? And is that worth taking that risk, or is this the proper coverage that we need? As well as talking to consultant and Holly, any insurance aspect you guys got with other HOAs.
I'd like to weigh in on that briefly, and that is that we have an owner here who is friendly with the president and owner of a major insurance company in Michigan. And I think he volunteered some information to the board and was never authorized to go further with it. And he would certainly be somebody to help explore this issue.
Who was that, Enid?
That would be Jeff Holmstrom. He's a lawyer, and
Oh.
he's very friendly with Bruce Lang, who owns, I think, Wolverine Insurance. in
Ken,
Michigan.
correct me if I'm wrong, but we put that ball in Jeff's court and didn't
He
hear
dropped the
anything
ball.
Did not
Yes.
I think his understanding was that he hadn't gotten any approval, so there must be some miscommunication, but
Well-
it would be a resource worth exploring. And let me
okay.
also thank Michael Campo, who worked very hard to get our insurance rate down. It was originally something like $85,000, and he really went to work on that. So I want to thank him. One other thing on the tree issue, one of the things that has not been mentioned, it's kind of a subtle thing, but when there were trees there, when you live on that side, and you're laying in your bed and you're trying to read, the light is coming in. There's no filter from the light now, so it's very, very bright. Because there is no light in a way that it never was before. So it's a subtle thing. I don't know that it makes any difference to anybody but people reading in bed, but something to think about. Those trees originally were planted as noise breaks and light breaks, light filter. We had a lot of experience with calling the police, but they never have enforced the 11 o'clock closing time. They seem not to do it, but if you call, they come out. They get tired of you calling if you're calling all the time, because there's often all the time noise, and the noise does carry. So a couple of other items. Thank you.
I'd just like to address the owner that Enid had mentioned. Jeff and I have talked numerous times on this issue, and the board has spoken with him, other members of the board, and we have put out to him, if he has a proposal, that we will look at it. He can bring anything to the board at any time. And we were very specific with him, and he did not bring anything to the board. The board was willing to accept anything, talk to him about anything, and we did not receive anything. And it was very, very clear. So there was no miscommunication in that respect. That's very important for everyone to understand. And
okay, I think we're all done. And
He's not here to I can only tell you what the part of it I know, you know it.
Well, Enid, I spoke with him face to face and had lunch with him, and we discussed all these issues extensively. So, you may have received information at a different time, but the board and the other board members will back me up in exactly what I'm saying. So please accept what we're saying is true.
Can I just chime in? And I won't say anything more because I know I've said a lot. I, for one, would really advocate that we stop asking our board members and our owners to be expert in legal matters financial matters, construction matters. I mean, Enid, you're talking about toxicity. This is one of the things that creates so much toxicity here because we get into this, well, my interpretation of this matter is this, and a different group of people have another interpretation of things. And we're not experts. Even if you're a lawyer, it doesn't matter. We all have biases. We all have different perspectives on how we should operate Surfside. I think we should completely start shifting any of these divisive topics to some experts. I mean, it's just, it causes toxicity.
I have something to add, if I may. Speaking of experts, we have on Monday, the 20th, we have the structural engineer coming in. And so I have an appointment. We're going to walk around and find out and make sure where we're at. That's a huge step. So I wanted to make sure that I made note of that so everybody was informed of that. So that's another big step. A couple of sidebars. We talk about I want to thank Ken and Adam, and I thank Julie for bringing up your points about the insurance stuff. The thing about it is that the Snyder Company isn't just like an insurance company. They go through a company and they go every year and they go through the best coverage they can get at the best price. That's how they've been dealing with us. And there's been some odds, and we've covered that before. So unless people know, and again, what Mr. Hansen says about starting a committee and things like that. Oh, I don't know how you're going to do that, but I don't know I don't know how you do that, but we got down to like, it was T-minus 0 hours and we had to come up with something. So finding a company that does it as a business and they break it down to where it's the best companies that can cover all that we need to cover at the lowest cost and where we were at, and continue, to improve to be at. I don't know how you can do better than that, but I'm not an insurance agent. Again, like you said, that makes a good point. The other thing, let's see, we were talking about these intruders and people that are coming upon the property. We average 6 or 7 a year, and whatever that is, everybody here we're all pretty much into the game of how Surfside is. But here's the thing: as long as we have for sale signs at the top of the hill, how are you going to expect not to have people coming down the hill to see what's down there? I don't think that's a realistic point of view. People, if I was buying something, I'd want to look at it before I was walking into it. And I think that should be taken into consideration. And at the same time, since the 21 trees got cut down from that parking lot, it gives a bird's eye view of Surfside's roof. I mean, the first building, that's it. They get to see everything. So again, that might be intriguing to them to want to even look further. So, the Surfside for sale signs, along with now with the trees gone and whatever, all the improvements, all that we are talking about to get done will happen. But right now we're just at that point right now. So we all got concerns. We all got, investments in this stuff, but let's keep it realistic. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, I appreciate that, Michael. Okay, Ken, I think we're pretty much done here. And
Donna has her hand up.
Over to Holly.
Oh, wait, Donna has her hand up? No? Yes?
No, all I was going to say was when Adam and I were looking for the unit, we walked all over. We walked over Anna's patio. We walked around the pool. We were all over that property because we were considering buying one. So I second what Michael said, that I mean, I would be intrigued if I was looking for a place. I'd walk down there too, probably. I did. So that might be what of it.
Yeah, I mean,
I hear what you say and what Michael says, but these are not people who are coming down here to look at the property. These are people bringing their towels. These are people sitting on the perch that are underage.
That's what I was going to say, Jay. There's a difference. There's a difference between people coming down driving sitting there, like looking through center court and driving back. They're like, oh, hey, they see a for sale sign, they're going to come down. The people who trespass, come down, set up shop on our perch, or make their way all the way down to the rocks or the water, those are legit trespassers. So it's sometimes it's hard to distinguish, but you just got to give whoever that is a minute to see if they are looking and leaving or if they are bringing their bag and making a sandwich.
I'd like to ask one. I wanted to say something in regards to that, though. Is we've got 5 no trespassing signs from the top of the hill down to a giant one at the stop sign. And so, being in the business of things like this happening, I'm saying to everyone that people with that intent are going to go there anyways, no matter what we're doing. We could put a gate up, we could do this, we could do that. If people want to get down to see that lake, they're going to find a way to do it. And I'm sorry to say it I'm not being negative about it. I think all the no trespassing signs are wonderful to look at and things, but there's also a reality side. So yes, it's nice to have everybody's eyes out and we get rid of the people that we know that don't belong. But there really are people that might be, like we're also saying, coming down the hill to take a look at it. And you can tell the difference of people that belong and don't. That's all.
So I have just a really quick question. So when we have people who make deliveries, like the UPS driver who came in on Sunday with his posse and just sat down on the perch, could we possibly contact UPS? Because honestly, I mean, if I worked for UPS and I was trespassing on property, I mean, maybe I would get written up. I don't know. I'm just saying, I understand what you're saying, Michael, about, the for sale signs and stuff, but it's really kind of disheartening when you have delivery people come down and feel like they can just take advantage. When all of us
understand that. You know what, Pam, we've been there. Pam, I understand. But Pam, you and our families have been there longer than anybody on here, right? Pretty much. So we've been doing with this for forever. So it's not really much. Now you're saying about getting a hold of UPS. I think that's not a bad idea, because when you think about that, if we say something like that to the UPS, maybe they just change his route. Get him out of here.
So
that's a good idea.
A good thing to do. So
yeah,
we'll have to keep that in mind.
I think that's a good idea, Pam. Okay. What's
Holly,
next, Ken?
Can I ask a question? Just one more quick.
Last one.
Okay. People down the road and the teepee houses, they put up gates. What's your experience with the people down Ridge Road? Would they have gates?
Like I said, we did an estimate. We called Holly
Yeah,
at Laser,
okay.
and
Okay,
they gave
okay,
us an
sorry.
estimate of $40,000 to put up a gate.
Okay, okay.
And that didn't include annual maintenance. Okay. Next, Ken, on the agenda.
Oh, sorry. I was listening to everybody. Hang on a second.
Next on the agenda.
Okay.
I think
Next.
we're going to Holly, are we not?
Well, next on the agenda is a great big thank you to all the owners for attending.
Thank you, all the owners, for attending and for voting.
And to the board for its service to the association. And then
I think
Okay,
we're on to
everyone's ready?
Holly.
All right. So we actually had 100% voting. So everyone voted. I'm going to start off with the audit question. Do you support hiring a firm to conduct an independent external audit? There was 6 votes for yes and 26 votes for no. I feel like people are writing, so I'm waiting a second.
Okay.
Okay. So then election. So Michael got 30 votes. Bill, 11. Enid, 14. Mary, 17. Christine, 17. Adam, 18. and Ken, 18.
So Michael, Adam, Ken, Christine,
And Mary.
and Mary. Congratulations to the new board. Okay,
Thank you very much, and we would like to thank Bill for his years of service and all that we've accomplished with him being on the board. We greatly appreciate everything that he's done, and I'd like to personally say thank you to everyone who stepped up to run.
okay. Then it's my understanding that the new board is going to stay on and everybody else is going to sign off. So thank you.
Thank you,
for
Bill.
coming.
Thank you to everyone for being part of this meeting, and thank you for those that were on the board in the past. And we look forward to working with the new board members as well. Thank you all.